At least. I'm a night owl. I could do it. I'd like to get it done and put through, but I'm a night owl. I could stay up till 12:30, no problem.
I'm gonna doze off if we stay a whole lot longer.
What's on the agenda for?
Not a lot. We have tentatively the Christie Avenue Park final development plan for approval in February. We have a school moving into an existing building that needs a use permit from the Planning Commission because of parking. And we have the East Bay Bridge Shopping Center Master Sign Program. I think it would be doable to continue the next item to the February meeting, although I'm not sure how the applicants feel about that.
I think the applicant wants to say something.
I have a thought. This building, D, is not nearly as complex to describe or to tell you the changes we've made or the requests that you had of us. I think I can get through it, and it's up to you. I think I can get through it in 10 minutes. And at least you'll have something, you can give us your feedback, and then we can work on it. It's up to you.
We could extend the meeting, say, till midnight, and if we're not done at midnight, then continue it to February.
Well, I would maybe propose this, that we maybe forego the applicant's presentation up front, because I don't think the building is that complicated. We can take public comment, give comments, and then if they want to respond to any comments that we've given, then we can invite them back up at the end.
It works for me.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Would you like a staff presentation?
If it's brief.
I don't think it's necessary. I'd just like to ask Tom one thing. The presentation that you have in your PowerPoint, is that exactly the same as the plans that the commission has, or have you made changes?
It's very, very close. It's only been upgraded, like landscape's been upgraded a bit. The family-friendly areas and the clustering of units in together to create some dynamic are a little bit more evolved. But like I said, I can hit that. Ow, yeah.
I think I can understand it just from what you said.
Yeah.
Can you?
Pretty good.
Can you get rid of this presentation from the screen and put up some representative graphic of the other building?
Yeah, I can, if I can find it.
Yeah, can Maru help him do that?
Yeah,
Chair Moss?
It should be on this presentation.
We do need to take a vote.
Yeah, do you want to take a vote?
Yeah, so let's just extend to midnight. Maybe we might even be able to get done before then, but I'll make a motion to extend to midnight.
I'll second it.
Perfect.
Any objections?
Okay, without objection. That was Moss and Keller, right? Got it.
You're done.
So we're just going to take public comment?
Yeah, I guess we'll start with public comment. So if there's anyone who would like to speak on Marketplace Theater Site, or also known as Parcel D, please come forward. Anyone? Last call? All right, seeing none, we will close the public comment. Commissioner Gunkel, do you want to get us started?
Sure. Yeah, I think on this one, some of the labeling was a little unclear, or not as precise. So just making sure that ribbed element continues that you've got on two sides of that corner. Right now, it's shown on the renderings, but in some of the plans, it sort of stops at the second floor or third floor level, and just sort of defining what that is. And describing the signage. I see the signage varying in different renderings. And what's on the sign, is it really saying Avalon? The courtyard cutout, I mean, at one point I think that made a lot of sense where it is, where it's currently shown. I think when the grocery store was shorter, and that cutout might have actually provided a visual connection through down to Shell Mound. Now I guess it's primarily a location that allows sunlight in at certain times of day. It's okay, I don't know. It just doesn't, there's really no specific logic to where it's at anymore. I do like that I think there's a lot of the courtyard, the active space looks good. I like that most of the courtyard level patios have direct access to the courtyard. This is the main thing, I feel like the townhouses should be on 64th Street and the garage facing the parking lane. I mean, it's a parking lane, we're calling it a parking lane, there's a garage on the other side of it. That's where the garage, if we're gonna have a location where the garage is open to the exterior, it should be on that parking lane and not on 64th Street.
I think that also if the townhouses were on 64th Street, they'd get a little bit more light when you come out of them instead of being at the bottom of another tall building on a narrow street. Looking at my comments. I actually, aside from looking at that planter issue again and separating the building units with a lot of planting areas, it's hard to tell what's going on with the courtyard. I'd like to be sure that there's a lot of access between the units and the courtyard. And when it gets late, I get a little bit fuzzy, I think. I had one more, but I'll pass and it'll come back to me.
Let's use your microphone.
Well, again, I'd like to see a little more continuity in the elevations and its relationship to the apartment, the building where the market is going to be located, so that there's some continuity along the street. You get up to the next block and going between 64th and 65th, and the elevations are very consistent, and they wrap around on the side, and I think that's an important feature that should be looked into here.
Yeah, it's actually pretty hard to read from just the scale of the design, what's going on at ground level, but you know our drill. We want no blank walls. We want it to be activated, pedestrian friendly. I generally like the materials. I think the colors, again, they're a little bit contrasty, could become more calm. And I also was thinking that same thing about that cutout. It doesn't really mean anything now. Not that I don't think it's still not a reasonable thing to have light and air in that space, but not quite the same as what it was. And once again, I think more family-friendly units, less one-bedrooms and more three-bedrooms would really make this much more of a family-friendly project, and I actually look forward to seeing the fruits of your collaboration with the person that the city has made as our design consultant, and so I look forward to seeing a little bit more work in that department on this project.
Okay, well, once again, a much improved project. I think this building is a vast improvement over the previous. I love everything about the southeast corner. I agree with Commissioner Gunkel that they need to be consistent. What I'm seeing here on our computer screen is what I want to see in the finished project. I think that's just really neat. The vertical elements with the long skinny windows, the corner balconies, the large corner storefront windows of the double height lobby, it's all just great. I feel the overall architecture is something I would see in San Francisco, Portland, or Seattle. Again, there are places I disagree, and there are places that the DCC and I diverge and converge. Again, the DCC has concerns about the materials and colors. I value that the architect used restraint in the placement and selection of colors. The colors highlight the architectural details without being a substitute for the architectural details. And the materials, we keep asking for something other than stucco, and here we get it, and I don't know what the concern is. Maybe it would be helpful if staff gave us in the report more particulars of what they didn't like, rather than just saying they didn't like something, so that I wouldn't have to kind of be the bad guy. Where the DCC and I converge on this is the setting of the townhouse and the adjacent communities. I think everything is in their current location is where it needs to be on the ground floor. I understand what people are saying about 64th Street. 64th Street is on the north side. It's dark, it's wet. In the middle of the day, you go down that street this time of year, the street is wet, even if it hasn't been raining. Emmy Apartments, all their services are on that side of the building. All their utility boxes, their driveway, the driveways coming out of, what is the new name of the Carton Artistry? Their driveways come out of there. And if we want the activity in the public market and we want 63rd Street to be activated, this is where the townhouses belong, in my opinion. So I think the way everything is set up in the building currently in this plan is just where they should stay. I think it's really good. Trying to catch up here with myself. I think the upper courtyard is very well done. It has a great layout as well as the placement of the user amenities. I also like how it opens up to the south. It may not have a view, but it's going to have sunshine most part of the day. And I think the program in that area, the use of that area is pretty well planned out. I like the really big round lounge things, almost like a cruise ship. Additionally, I really like the setback treatment at the top of the building. There's a rhythm and a cohesive feeling to the entire building, while it still provides some unique and smartly placed, strong architectural elements. Where before this was the weakest building of the entire project, I now think it's the better of the two that I've been able to comment on tonight. A couple of the details to consider is make sure that the bike shop and pet room, again, have windows. And maybe the metal screens covering the parking area of the garage on 64th Street could be patterned rather than just that square, simple mesh. So maybe something like on the order of Oak Walk or what they were proposing on the affordable housing tonight down there. But for me, I feel the project is pretty much a go, and it's probably one of the best projects I've seen from Avalon. I like how I'm not really in agreement with Commissioner Cardoza about this separation. I like that they have a rhythm, they kind of match, but they're not matchy-matchy. I mean, it's going to be next to the Emmy Apartments, which themselves are very different. So I kind of like how it blends, but yet it becomes kind of different buildings in different neighborhoods, and I don't want everything to be really matchy-matchy. And the picture we're looking at here, I just think this elevation is just amazing. I think it's really, really good. Thank you.
I just have kind of two comments, really. I think it's a good building. The elevations are strong. I don't know how to articulate this, but on the shell mound, I think for me, the shell mound elevation is kind of the weakest, and I'd like to see a little work on that. It's when I look at it, it's so you have this sort of tower feature that's a little bit taller, and then after that, the building just it's a little bit kind of rectilinear, and when I look at that elevation, I think, oh, well, the building needs kind of an accent color. But then I look at the other elevations, and I'm like, oh, well, that bronze is your accent color. So there's just something about that elevation that I think it could. I don't know what it is. If it needs a little, maybe some sort of horizontal break in that. That larger portion of the building or something, but I think it needs just a little something to add some interest. And then on the, what is this now, the north elevation, I think maybe you could find one additional place to add that accent color on that elevation. I think the elevation is good. I think a little additional color wouldn't hurt it. It's a little black and white, that side. And then what was my only other comment is as I stated before, I'm going to state again. I think that the townhome units on the ground floor should not be loaded from the rear as well. You know, in order to come from the garage to the, the front of the building and enter your unit, you'd have to walk about an extra 30 feet probably, if they didn't have that access in the back. So I don't really see it as an inconvenience or anything like that, but I think it'll really add to the neighborhood to have that activity on the street kind of everywhere. So those are my comments.
I remembered my other comment was about the unit mix again. It's over 50% studios and one bedrooms, and it needs to have more larger units. That's it.
And I think the thing that's making this rendering pop is the fiber cement rain screens are really appearing kind of glossy. And a lot of times that's just a rendering thing, and there are plenty of fiber cement rain screens that aren't glossy, and there are some that are glossy now, some that look like wood paneling. I think getting having it not only be a different color than the plaster, but actually feel like a different texture than the plaster in that glossiness is going to be key.
Yep.
I promised 10 minutes, and I'll do my very best. First of all, I appreciate the commentary. This is exactly what we need from you. The really cool part about this site, D, is it's square. So based on all of your comment, we have taken this building and we have rotated it to every single direction and taken all those functions and put them on every single side. And this is where we settled. And we settled on this for a big reason. The big issue was activate shell mound. So that's where we are going to put windows, and that's where the bike shop, the leasing, our activity zones are. We want shell mound to be that activity zone. The townhouses going down 63rd and then turning the corner on the Market Street, the new Market Street, we wanted to reinforce that corner. And we initially didn't do that because across the street was perpendicular parking into a garage. But the city is working with us and with the master developer to create parallel parking, wider sidewalks, more trees. It now becomes a lovely, quiet residential street. So, and it's not south facing, but as the sun comes around, it's going to catch more sun than if we did 64th. So that was the reason we didn't do 64th, and the parking lot and the stuff across the street. That was another reason. So the ground plane we think is very, very strong. The cut in the building, we put that there because there's a potential plaza that delivers us right to that front, and hopefully as you come down the street, that gives a break in the big mass of the building. It does let sun into that courtyard. We have more 3 bedrooms in this building. We have really tried to cluster those 3 bedrooms together so that the family activities are stronger. And the units that we showed you before are the intention of the units that we'll use here. The materials that we're using, I actually don't disagree. I think a couple of the elevations need a little more work, and that's why we're here to talk to you. And so maybe on shell mound we need, and this is me too, I think we need to look at that very, very strong corner and then create something that's sympathetic to that going down shell mound. It was meant to be a response to the industrial manufacturing across the railroad, and then the rest of the buildings created these different buildings that face different zones, like the residential zone, the commercial zone, the park zone. And so we were trying to do that. So it's the same family of materials used slightly differently, but turning the corners, and that was the intention. Is there any other questions that I'm missing? We're pretty excited about this building too, because it's made a giant leap forward. And together, the 2 projects, I think, are very, should be an extremely good addition to the city. And I can't tell you how excited we are to get to this point with you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, are there any commissioner comments? All right, then let's adjourn and go home. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah.